Let's just sit and appreciate this morning and this sun coming up to greet us today. Hey, Rodnika girl, I got some questions for you. Hey, baby cousin, I got some questions for you. I got some questions for y'all. These gonna be so good. These some good questions, y'all. Everything I say today, like literally, y'all, hey, sweet Jeremy love. Okay, everything I say today, y'all, Asia, everything I say today, I want y'all to pose it as a question to yourself. Okay, y'all? I want y'all to pose. Hi, Kylie. Everything I say today, I want you to pose it as a question to yourself and an opportunity to practice introspection. Okay, Joni? Everything I say today, I want y'all to pose it as a question to yourself and an opportunity to practice introspection. Y'all with me? So, I don't know if y'all can hear that good music in the back, but I even wrote it as today's morning breath. My question is, are you a try Jesus, don't try me type of person? Y'all know that song by Toby. So it says, try Jesus, don't try me because I throw hands. Try Jesus, don't try me because I fight. Are you that type of person? Now let me tell y'all why I say are you that type of person. Ask yourself this question. To me, that question shows that you have the capacity to leave the surface of the mind and practice the art of introspection. Y'all, this is what came to me on my little bike ride this morning, y'all. So in the case of Toby's song, he's saying that I am a little more aware that I have the capacity to say there is one part of this teaching in Christianity or in the Bible that does not align with my core knowing. That there's a part of this teaching that does not align with my soul wisdom. Y'all, are you asking yourself that? Right? So you can leave the surface of the mind and practice this art of introspection when you can say that religion is teaching me this, but my soul wisdom, it don't necessarily align with that my soul wisdom, right? With my core knowing. So he's saying, try Jesus, don't try me, because I lay hands. So what part of the Bible has taught us that if somebody smack your cheek, you should turn to the other cheek? Now, how many of y'all struggle with that and say, that's a part of the Bible that don't sit right with me? How many of y'all would agree and say that? Now, I want you to take that art of introspection, that ability to go inside, and I want you to keep asking questions, right? And it's not even a common practice that we do where we're inner focused. So as a culture, we don't practice much introspection because we're so outer focused, y'all. We focus on external situations, materials, experiences, world events, right? It's like that. We forget we are more than just these external and physical beings, right, y'all? It's like we forget that we are divine beings. Like each one of us is a divine being, and we are souls having this human experience. Like we're just souls in this human body, right? So part of our growing as humans, and then also spiritual beings, part of our growing should be this evolving. It should be this experience and desire to love, evolve, and grow spiritually, right? To have spiritual evolutions. Like we should be pursuing this experience of spiritual evolution. Okay, y'all? So we can remember our spiritual purpose, to remember our dharma, right? To know what am I here for? It's like it's a journey. Y'all with me? Okay, y'all. So here's a few questions for you. And I really want to challenge you to go into this introspection. Do you surrender judgment of others and their spiritual practices or their religious practices? Do you surrender judgment? Okay, y'all? Or do you judge or evaluate what other people are doing and how they're doing it? Do y'all get what I'm saying? So in this process of this art of introspection, if you identify as a Christian, as practicing Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, whatever you practice, do you allow yourself to suspend all judgment of what other people are doing and just work on your spiritual journey? And I'm saying that because I see often where a lot of people are socialized to think that there's only one way. And y'all, if we think about it, there is no only one way for anything. So for example, even in even in therapy, there's no one way for one person to experience healing through a particular style of therapy. Y'all think about exercise. For some people, cardio works better for them to feel full and feel healthy. For some people, weightlifting works better, right? So to say that there is only one way for you to experience enlightenment and this spiritual evolution, like, that's flawed to me. And then when you do that, are you judging because somebody else is doing something else? Okay? So you said, honesty requires that I admit I slip up occasionally. Yeah. Okay. So yes. So let's keep going with that. You learn from others. That's what you say, Shira. So let's keep going with that, because I had this experience I have studied, like, clearly I was born into a family of Christianity, but I studied Christianity. And then when I was in college, I had this short stint, like, dating or talking to this guy that was a Black Muslim. So I got exposed to that, and I was like, let me learn a little bit more about that. And then I've studied, not in depth, but I've studied some Hinduism and then Buddhism for sure. And then all these practices, in all of these practices, I felt like, oh, there's something rich and good in each one of these, right? So there's something that feeds my soul in each one of these practices, but I recognize that there is not just one way. And so I remember even as a child, I used to ask questions. As a child, growing up in the church, I used to ask questions that I feel like a lot of adults were not equipped or felt comfortable responding to. So you know how when you're growing up, people tell you stuff like, you don't question God. And I'm like, that confuses me, because on one hand, you're telling me that I'm an extension of God and I'm an extension of divinity, but yet I can't ask divine questions. Y'all, I want to ask them the divine questions because I want to experience this evolution of my spiritual self. And in that process, these divine questions, these quality questions where I leave the surface of my mind and I go into a deeper self. Y'all, yes, I got called disrespectful, or I talk too much, or I need to keep my mouth shut. That's the kind of things I was told. Even a few years back, y'all, my husband, my family and I were attending this church. We were like really involved with the church and absolutely loving it. And here's one, y'all, I got to share this with y'all. So a lot of people in the church knew I was a therapist, and they wanted me to, a lot of people would come to me and wanted me to work with them. So in this practice, I'm like, I want to offer some yoga to members as a way to practice mindfulness. Because what I saw that a lot of people didn't know how to practice paying attention on purpose. Like paying attention to, y'all know that's what mindfulness is, right? Is when you pay attention on purpose. You can pay attention to the quality of your thoughts, to the quality of your movement, to the quality of the way you eat, think, feel, everything. So mindfulness is paying attention on purpose. So as a therapist, I wanted to offer this to them, because several people had approached me, right? And one other thing that I know as a therapist and in my practice of Christianity, what I know is that when we are in mindfulness, when mindfulness is within you, the Holy Spirit is within you, right, y'all? Y'all with me? So in mindfulness, we observe and learn to handle our body, our breathing, our feelings, our mental states, our consciousness, right, y'all? So I'm at this church and I said, well, I want to offer yoga to everybody, and maybe we could do Saturday mornings where I offer a yoga class. Do you know, it was the pastor. He told me, he said, you know, maybe you can call it something else, but we're not going to allow yoga. And I said, well, what should I call it? Because I'm still going to be doing yoga. And he said, well, maybe you can call it something else. And, you know, but just, we're not inviting that in. And I'm like, what are you inviting in? And y'all, I struggle with that, because I said, well, tell me what you know about yoga that is questionable. But I see a lot of people doing that. A lot of people who have not studied or know anything about another practice or another person's religion or spirituality, they judge it, but they don't know about it. So tell me, y'all, how can you judge something when you don't understand it? How can you judge it and say that's not good when you've never studied it yourself? Do y'all get what I'm saying? So I remember saying, like, mindfulness is like the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit and mindfulness both are agents of healing, right? When you have mindfulness, you have love and understanding. You see more deeply. You can hear the wounds in your own mind with mindfulness. When you study deep understanding and love, you are healed. So tell me what part of yoga, and if y'all know the 8 limbs of yoga, tell me what part of yoga does not align with what you're saying, or what do you know about it? Why are you speaking on something that you don't know about? Now, everybody, I want you to ask yourself these questions, and these are our breaths as we're going to finish up. Right, y'all? The experience of othering occurs the moment that we say, only my way is the way. Right? One size does not fit all. We know that about everything. In practically every part of our lives, one size does not fit all. No one meditation, mindfulness practice fits everybody. For some people like a walking meditation. Some people like a guided meditation. Some people like a mindfulness where there's no sound, a meditation where there's no sound. Some people practice in different ways, and that's what works for them. So do you, brothers and sisters and they, do you practice non-judgment? Do you surrender judgment of another because if it's not your way? So for me, if going to church every Sunday, every Wednesday night, and studying the Bible is your way to experience some liberation, some freedom, some spiritual evolution, then that's good for you. But what's good for me is what's good for me. If going and, think about all the practices, and think about Hinduism, and just even the gift of and the studies. Did you ever study Hinduism and know what all the images are and know what the statues represent? Do you all know that? A lot of people don't even know why you have, I'm thinking about Shiva, and I'm thinking about just all the different, the statues in Hinduism and what they represent, like the darkness, and what they're crushing is actually the darkness of some of our souls and our experiences, like our shadow selves. But they just see it as these dark things and like these demons. The demons are the ones, when we talk about demons in Hinduism, it's the ones that are within us, some things that we need to deal with. Right, y'all? Okay. No, we're not. You are not anyone's judge. Ain't that right? One thing we know, y'all, and I was going to say this before I leave. Until there is peace between religions, there can be no peace in the world. People kill and are killed because they cling too tightly to their own beliefs and ideologies, which are usually an ideology or belief that somebody else told them. They didn't drop from the surface of their mind and go deeper on their own. They didn't ask divine questions on their own, right, y'all? So when we believe that ours is the only way, the only faith that contains truth, violence and suffering will surely be the result, right, y'all? Violence and suffering will surely be the result. So, y'all, let's just pause with ourselves and ask this question, right, y'all? Like, do you regularly drop from the surface of your mind, drop into yourself and practice introspection? And look at you and ask divine questions, ask quality questions of yourself. Do you regularly do that? The moment you want to judge somebody and say they're doing this way and that's not good, do you regularly come back to you and just drop from the surface of your mind? I was going to say something else about being at the surface of our minds, y'all. I'm trying to look at my notes because I was on my bike this morning thinking about it. This is the last thing I'm going to say, y'all, and I'm about to flow on this. Watch this. I think the surface of the mind, like staying at the surface of the mind and just going along with whatever you're being told, it keeps us not asking questions of information that is fed to us. So we just basically accept and swallow something that's fed to us. So it tells us that we need to stay at the surface of the mind and fall in line. Y'all, when we stay, y'all hear that flow? Come on. There's a situation, and in many practices, we can't question. We can't come with these divine questions because you're being asked to stay at the surface of the mind so that you can fall in line. Nah, I've never been able to fall in line. I've always asked questions because that's the divine self in me where I'm questioning this. I remember as a little girl, y'all, I used to be like, well, if that's the case, why would God do this? Or if that's the case, why Jesus do this? Or if that's the case, why this church person told me this, but then they did this? Y'all, questions. I tell my students this, y'all, in all my classes. I tell my clients this. I want you to be able to practice quality questions. And if I say something and just like that don't sit right with you, then let's talk about it. I want you to dive deeper than the surface of the mind and practice this introspection so you can have this spiritual evolution. Y'all with me? Okay. So yeah, I think that often when we participate in a theoretical orientation or a spiritual orientation or even a religious orientation, a lot of times we forget how to drop deeper and leave the surface of the mind because we just falling in line. Y'all, let's stop falling in line. Let's start going in deeper. Let's drop. Y'all, what's my line one more time? We need to stay at the surface of the mind and fall in line. Y'all, that ain't what we need to do. What we need to do is leave the surface of the mind. And that may cause us not to fall in line. Okay, y'all? That's good, ain't it? This is what I got on my bike ride this morning. Y'all better meditate and get on your bike. This is what I got. Okay, y'all. It's so good. I got a call. I don't know how these calls be going through, but y'all have a good old Monday. And y'all, don't stay at the surface of the mind. Go in. Ask those divine questions. Ask the question like, what is life? Life, what you giving me today? Why is this? Why and what is happening? Look, I think I got a little bit of my charcoal. My charcoal toothpaste was still hanging out there. But anyway, y'all have a good day. Leave the surface of your mind. Yes. Love you too, baby girl.